the city of Sanmenxia, so they will spend the winter here. And this year, right now, we have over 7,800 swans flocking to the Sanmenxia City. So right now, you are seeing a great number of swans here. So how many swans here in the basin of the wetland park? So before the live streaming, according to our calculation, in this area we have around 1,600 swans. So this is not the most number of the swans. However, in the future, as the temperature gets lower, and we will have more swans coming to this Swan Lake. So basically, this place is literally called the Swan Lake. So from this angle, maybe you will not see so many swans, but if you look at the swans, each one of them is quite big, quite large in size, and if you look at the length of their wings, it takes up to 2 meters. For some of the swans, it looks quite white, and some of them are quite gray. For the gray swan, they're actually baby birds. They're only 5 months old. So right now, they're changing the color of their feather. So my question is, in which places can we see such a great number of the swans? So right now in the city of Sanmenxia, we have 5 places we are able to see some of the swans. So if we're considering the age of the swans, for the experts, sometimes they're not able to tell the gender of these swans. But if you look at the color of their feather, actually you can tell their age. So for some of the swans, you could see their feather quite dark and quite gray, and they're younger birds. So where are these swans come from? Actually, they're coming from Siberia. So those are the places where these birds were born. So basically for these swans, they are 5 to 8 months old. They will come to this place to spend the winter. Now you could see a large number of swans flocking to this wetland. So what is your first impression when you come here? When I first came here, it feels like a breeding center for the swans. Actually, we have been visiting this place for many times. So for you, maybe it is your first time to come here, you may have a different impression. Actually, it's quite bustling, and actually you could hear the sound of the birds. It feels like they're talking to each other. So for the swans, when they're staying in Siberia, they would like to gather with their family. So for a typical family, we have a father and mother, and also they will raise their kids, their babies, in certain areas. However, you could see when they come to this habitat, all of these swans are actually gathering together. So right now we have thousands of swans living in the same place. So why is that? It feels like they have changed their habits of living. So according to the experts for the swans, this is a new place for them. Especially we have a lot of younger birds. They're only 3 to 5 months old. They need to stay with the older swans. They could feel safe. So I would like to show a footage we shot earlier. And you could see for these ones, they have traveled a very long journey to come to this wetland park. So actually, they're laying down, and because in this place they have sufficient food, and also they could enjoy the sunlight. And they don't have to migrate to other places. They're enjoying their life. You could see they have different gestures, and some of them they are trying to feed themselves. And for the others, so they're just trying to have some sleep. And some of them they're flapping, and even some of them are actually flying up in the sky. And later, if we see some of the swans, maybe 2 or 3, they're flapping with each other, maybe they quarrel with each other or they fight with each other because they have a strong consciousness about their territory, because they want to claim their territory. However, if we look at them on the lake, you could see it's quite vivid. When you are seeing these beautiful and graceful swans, you will feel very happy. And also you could see very many tourists come to this place. They're trying to capture some of the photos and the footage of the swans. And today, in order to give you a better knowledge about these swans, we are actually able to be joined by a specialist. So we have the director of the wetland park of the Swan Lake, and he will address some of the questions from the viewers. So Mr. Gao, very glad to be joining this live coverage. So first, I have a question. And we just talked about the number of the swans. Right now we have 7,800 swans coming to Sanmenxia. So and each year this number will grow. So my question is, why these swans choose the city of Sanmenxia to spend the winter? So actually for the swans, they are quite picky in choosing the habitat. So first of all, they will consider whether they will have sufficient food and also whether the weather is suitable for them to spend the winter. So first, they need to have water. If they have water, they are able to protect themselves, and of course, they need to have sufficient food because they feed themselves of the weeds. And also, they want to eat some of the grass in the riverside. So what other factors they will consider? And they have to consider the environment. For example, they want to stay in a quiet place. If there were too many tourists, the swans would not like to come to this place. So what about the size of the swan? And I heard the span of their wings may be 2 meters, and actually for their neck, it's about 1 meter. So maybe they will also consider the depth of the water. We used to do a lot of research. So for the swans, these ones would not like to stay in the water areas with the depth less than 2.5 meters. And they also have to consider whether they're able to reach to the grass from the surface of the water. So actually right now they are in the shoal area of the river. In the deep water areas we have fewer swans, because maybe in that areas they are not able to get the food. So we are talking about for the swans in their breeding center, they like to stay with their family member, but if they're coming to this new habitat, they may want to flock with each other. Can you tell us more about this? In the breeding center, basically 2 swans would like to stay together. And the size of their territory is about 2 square meters. If other swans invaded their territory, they will fight with the others. So they have very strong consciousness to protect their territory. However, when they come to this new habitat, I think for different kinds of the swans, they would like to send out a signal to the other swans. I believe they have their own language. So they flock with each other and then they travel south. So I believe in this place, maybe this is more like a social area for the swans. So they have different habits. For example, if they're staying in their breeding center, they may have a different gesture. And in this place, actually for some of the swans, they would like to mate with each other. So we always saw some of the photos. So we are looking at two swans. They're forming the shape of a heart. So what does that mean? So this is actually a neck dance, what we're referring to. So this is basically a gesture for the mating of the swans. So if two swans are forming that kind of shape, meaning that these two swans, they're a couple. Also, they're claiming the territory. So coming back to the topic about the depth of the water, does that mean for the swans they have to live in a place in a water area with the depth less than 1 meter? So I think this is very important for the swans to choose the habitat to spend the winter. We always talk about right now the swans, they're staying in the bank of the Yellow River. But actually, if you look at the water quality here, I think it's quite different from the Yellow River, because in this area it's quite clear and clean. So Mr. Gao, why the quality of the water of the Yellow River is quite different in this area? So in the past, we built the Sanmenxia water reservoir. And this is well known in the world. First of all, we store the water, and also we are trying to restore the ecological environment. So for the Sanmenxia Dam, is actually in the downstream of the city of Sanmenxia. So for some of the sand and the mud, they actually filter by the dam. And that's why for this part of the water area of the Yellow River is quite clean. So that's why we are seeing that more clear water quality in the Sanmenxia wetland park. And also in the city of Sanmenxia, we have many wetland parks. And also it meets the requirement for the swans. And the depth of the water is less than 1 meter. And also in this area, we have sufficient food for the swans. And this is an ideal place for the swans to spend the winter. So right now, we are only seeing a small portion of the swans. Later, we will see more swans. They're still traveling to the wetland park. When they will arrive? I believe they will arrive in the middle of December and the middle of January next year. I believe most of the swans, they're still on the way of the migration. Because as time passes, the temperature will fall, and all of these swans would like to spend the winter here. So probably when we come to this place in mid-December, I believe the weather is more cold and more swans will come to here to spend the winter. So maybe in less than 1 month, the figure will double. And actually last year, according to our calculation, we have over 15,000 swans staying in the city of Sanmenxia. So here comes to another question. You talk about 15,000 swans, and all of these, they're staying together. What happens if there is a pandemic or a disease for these swans? Because we don't want to have too much human intervention. How to ensure the safety and the health of all of these swans. So before the swans come, we will do an overall disinfection for the water area. So we will collect the samples from the Yellow River and we will check the quality of the water. If we found any of the pandemic occurred among the swans, we have to do what we can to protect the swans. Yes, indeed, we have a large number of swans gathering. So if we have one swan infected with the epidemic, and the other swans will be affected. So we will take other measures. For example, we don't want to have a large number of swans gathering together. In 2018, we have done a lot of upgrades in the habitats, and also in the estuary of the Yellow River, we are trying to create a great number of shores and the wetlands so that for these swans, they would like to stay in different places of the wetlands. So for this area, it's actually an artificial wetland. So in the past, in this place, is filled with rocks. However, with years of efforts, we are able to turn this desert into a wetland and a swan lake. So on one hand, we are trying to restore the ecological environment, and on the other hand, we are trying to create more habitats for the swans. And this will also help to spread these swans so that they could stay in different places. So actually for the swans, when they're staying outdoors, they're actually quite vigilant. We are not able to come closer to these swans. And also for some of the swans, if they have the memory that they're being hurt in this area, they will not come to this place again. So I believe if some of these swans are getting hurt, and at least in 5 years' time, they don't want to come back to this place. So right now we are quite close to the swans. It feels like we are taking a walk on the banks, but still we can enjoy the beautiful scenery of the swans. So when we come closer to the swans, does that mean we have improved people's consciousness in protecting the environment, and also we have made some progress in the ecological restoration? Yes, indeed. In the past, this place is in a mess, but right now people have better consciousness in protecting the ecology. And they would like to clean their garbage, and also when they come to this place, they will not wear bright colors. So that said, people have a better consciousness in protecting the environment and protecting the swans. So especially with years of efforts, so we are trying to form a harmony between the human and the swans. And the swans must have a kind of trust with human. That's why each year we are seeing the large number of swans flocking to the wetland and lakes to spend the winter. In the past, we have so many photographers coming to this place to take photos of the swans. So in the past, people would like to come to this place the day before, and they're not sure whether they're able to capture some of the swans. But right now, as the swans are getting used to this place, when people coming to this place, they could actually use their mobile phone to take some photos of the swans. And also some people are coming here to do some live coverage. With years of development, we could see the ecological environment have been significantly improved, and also people's consciousness have been improved to protect the environment. And right now, we are seeing a harmony between the swans, the people, and the city. I believe Mr. Gao must be very proud of the progress in the city of Sanmenxia. So I believe people who are living in the city of Sanmenxia, they must love these beautiful and lovely creatures. When we come to this place, we are seeing a lot of slogans. For example, do not feed the swans. So with the improvement of people's livelihood and people's mindset have been changed. And actually in late 90s, we also have another kind of slogan that is not to kill any one of the swans. And right now it is more human-centered. So in the past, the slogan will say no killing and penalty, something like that. But right now we are trying to create an environment that people can live along with these swans. And right now we are seeing a lot of changes in the city of Sanmenxia. And also we are able to be joined by another special guest, and he will tell us more about the development of the wetland park. So we have Mr. Yang from the General Office of the City of Sanmenxia. So Mr. Yang, I believe in the past few years, and the Sanmenxia City trying to restore some of the wetlands. So this is to ensure the high quality development of the ecological environment of the Yellow River. And on the other hand, we are trying to build more artificial habitats for the swans. Can you give us some figures? For example, how many habitats have been restored? In terms of the ecological restoration, we are trying to demolish some of the fishing ponds amounting to 250,000 square meters. So we are trying to do a lot of work on the ecological restoration, and also we are able to recovering some of the shoals. In protecting the white swans, so before the swans coming to this place, we will do an overall disinfection to the wetland park. And also we are trying to provide sufficient food to the swans. So we are also able to grow some of the weeds in the wetland park. So as Mr. Yang said, in the past 2 years, especially in the Yellow River Basin, we are able to recovering some of the land for 2,700 mu. And yesterday we visited Houdi village. It took us about like 20 to 30 minutes for drive. In the Houdi village, what is the size of the shoal? I think it's about like 2,000 mu. And actually 2 years ago, that is not the situation. 2 years ago, and that place is a mess, and we are not able to create an artificial habitat for the swans. And that is a harvest land, so for the swans, they would not want to come to that place to spend the winter. However, yesterday when we visited Hodi village, right now we're able to see about 3,000 swans. So as Mr. Yang said, for his department, and this year they're able to collect some specialized fund, they are able to grow weeds in the Hodi village. The reason why they want to grow of these weeds is because each year, as we see, as the temperature gets lower and some of the water area will become icy, and some of the swans are not able to get their food under the water. So that's why we are growing a lot of wheat right next to the wetland park. So if the swans are not able to eat the grass under the water, they will travel to the other village and trying to get some food. So also we have to consider the needs of the villages because we don't want to damage their crops. So that's why we are trying to grow 600 more of wheat, and then we can feed all of these ones of wheat. By doing that, the villages will not suffer from the damage, and also they have a stronger consciousness to protect the swans. So right now we have more and more swans coming to the city of Sanmenxia to spend the winter. So I believe in this place will become a major place for the white swans to spend the winter. With the introduction with the two experts, I believe you have a general idea of this Swan Lake. So I never expecting that over 70% of the swans spend winter in the city of Sanmenxia. And also right now in the city of Sanmenxia, they have 5 wetlands as the habitats for the swans. As we have a great number of swans, we have to protect their safety, and of course, we have to feed them during winter. And locally, actually, they have an inspection team. So each day, they will have an inspection for these swans to ensure the safety and health of these swans. So Eden, after you hear all of this introduction, how do you feel right now? So right now we are taking a walk on the bank of the wetland park. We're enjoying the sunlight, and also we are looking at these beautiful and graceful swans. I feel much happier. So with today's live streaming, I believe you must have a better understanding of the Swan Lake. So actually, we would like to invite all of you to come to Sanmenxia to enjoy the Swan Lake. So that comes to the end of the live coverage. See you next time.